Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. This is now day 7 on the account, and of course it is a weekend, so no trades, but we'll be looking to place some trades over the next week. So just a summary on the account so far for the first week then. Placed 4 trades over 4 different days, and now just a slight loss of just, it's about $85, $86. So it's not too bad. Now familiarized myself with the Alpha Ticks platform, which is cool. It's nice. So going to have a bit more of a plan in terms of upsizing a little bit for the coming week. So I'll kind of go through that, and it's just a thought that I've sort of had that with this account, don't want to be in the challenge for too long. Hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks we can be out of it. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through what I was sort of thinking about on this. So first off is how I'm going to be risking on the account. So going to be, of course it's a 50k account, so 50,000, and with this planning to do 1% risk. So 1% risk, and of course that's 500 on the account, so 500. Oops, 50k there. So if we end up losing this account, it brings us down to 49,500. So let's just write a loss here. So it puts us down 1%, and with the account, you can go down to 48k. So there's still 1.5k there, which is 3% on the account to play with. But at that point, when the balance has gone down to 49,500, so just write 49,500. What I'll probably do is actually downsize to around maybe 0.5%, or maybe slightly above, which will be about 250. Even if that was now a loss also, that takes us to 49, 250. Okay, so with this now, once we've taken that first loss, if we just carried on doing the 1% and taking losses, it would mean that you only have 3 more losses that you can take on the account. But if downsizing now, this now means that you have 6 losses that you can take. So it would be a total of 7 losses before losing the account. So it just gives a little bit more wiggle room on the downside if you do take a loss, that you don't just blow the account very quickly, because 4 days is 1 week, and that's very possible with a strategy that's even 50% win rate. 50% win rate. If you end up taking 4 losses in a row, that's 2, 4, 8, 16. 1 in 16 chance that can happen. So it's still very possible to happen. So just gives a little bit more wiggle room. So instead of it just being 4 losses, it now means that you change to 7 losses. But let's take it on the other side. So for example, if we did take this first one as a loss and we do downsize, but let's say this time it's a gain, so you end up winning this, and you're in like a 2 to 1, you end up winning the 500 win, and this takes you back to the 50,000 mark, and at this point then you can then stay at that 1% again. So my idea is if I take 1 loss and go down 1%, I'm gonna just downsize, but at this point I can then go back to that 500 as a risk, so risking 1%. But if it's that 2 to 1, it could be a 1,000 win, which then takes you to the 50,100 mark. Oh, 51,000 I should say. I'm trying to think about this really quickly, so making a few mistakes here, but yeah. So with this is how I'm looking to play things out. If I do take 1 loss on the account, then I'll downsize once I get to a balance of 49,500, and then just downsize. It just gives a bit more of a chance to not go into too much of a loss. But yeah, just even on this as well. So the balance is now 49,250, and we're risking 0.5%. But you now win, so it's a 500 win. Even after 2 losses and 1 win, that now brings you back to 49,750. So if this number is higher than the 49,500, so within 1% of drawdown, you can then take a 1%. So let's say 49,750, and taking a 1% position now, because of course you don't want to be in the challenge for too long. And let's say, for example, it is a win at this point. That's a 1,000 win. Then puts you into 450, 750. So for this, the idea is just risk 1% until you are 1% down on the account, and then actually just downsizing to a 0.5%. So this is kind of my idea for the moment. Anyway, I might change on this, but as you start to get into the profit here, then hopefully it can just kind of run up, because the idea is that you need to get a 3k profit to be able to pass the evaluation. So it only really takes 3 wins to be able to allow that to happen. So just something that I'm thinking about in terms of the risk. Downsizing once 1% or lower on the account. So currently, of course, it's only $86 or $85 down. So what I'll do is actually risk the 1%. My risk on this was 0.8% on my biggest loss for the week, so it was slightly below that. So I don't want it to be any more than 1%, like 1% max as a risk. So that's the idea there. So that's how I'm going to look to play it. I do hopefully look to have another 50k evaluation after I've posted this day 7. So of course, as I mentioned, there was a challenge for those that are in the Discord server to post some content on alpha futures, and if you do 7 days in a row, then you will be gifted basically a 50k evaluation, a 0 account. So hoping that will come through. So that will then mean that I have 250k, so it's 100k on that. Looking to trade on both. Similar thing that I'm planning to maybe do on that if I place a trade on both and do go down 1%, what I might look to do is actually stop trading one of the accounts until this first account is back into well above the 1% anyway. So taking another win on that at some point. So still thinking about how I'm going to play that, but it's just kind of like some of the things that I'm thinking about at the moment. I don't want to just like blow an account very quickly either, but also don't want to be in the challenge for too long, because of course there is a monthly fee. So it's going to be the idea potentially for the week. Might change that anyway, but hopefully this is kind of useful for some of you that are blowing accounts quite easy, because this particular strategy would actually lead to you having to lose 7 trades before taking a win. So it's obviously quite a large amount to take, especially if you're even in a 50% win rate. So yeah, just something I'm kind of thinking about. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.